2016, I went for an annual checkup with my doctor, and then I found out I had cervical cancer. To be able to interview Patrick Mahomes moments before the game kicked off, I literally felt like I was going to have a stroke. It was just so amazing. Like, it's never going to get better than that.
Anthony Nguyen here, Nick Gallo. We're here with the great Erin Andrews. Erin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and promote what you have going on with AstraZeneca.
Yeah, AstraZeneca. Yep. Now, when you
Zeneca.
say great, like, I mean, it's not like the great one, or like I was just trying to say, like, you don't have to use great. It's totally fine because I think of like the greats out there, you know?
Well, I say you're great because I met Al Michaels last week, and
Oh, he's the
and
best.
yeah, and I say great because I told my daughter about this interview, and she called you the great Erin Andrews. So it's coming
Oh,
from
that's
her.
very nice.
So we know how this is a big promotion, and we wanted to just, walk us through the first time that you heard about your cancer diagnosis and how important is it for young men and women to get early screenings?
Well, first of all, so the partnership that I'm doing with AstraZeneca, the NHL Fights Cancer, is all about encouraging men, women, anyone to go get screens, routine cancer checks. And the biggest thing, I think about when, you encourage people to go to the doctor, everybody's like, I don't have time. I've got enough stuff going on. I got to take my kids here. I got this. I got to go to, here for work. I don't have time. And then you bring the whole anxiety of it all. Nobody wants to hear, any bad news. So, it works really, it's very an organic partnership for me because in 2016, I went for an annual checkup with my doctor, and then I found out I had cervical cancer. And it's like, holy crap, I just went there because I'm supposed to do it every single year. But the good news after all of that was because I went and I didn't put it off, going to get checked for like a routine checkup, we were able to catch my cancer early. We were able to treat it and get to the root of the problem. And that's the biggest thing for people. You need to go get checked. More times out of none, it's going to be nothing wrong with you. But if you do, you're going to be able to deal with it and take the proper steps to get rid of it. So that's kind of what we're trying to do is get everybody out there, go get body checked against cancer, which is a cute little twist, obviously, on what we see happening on the ice with NHL and NHL players. And also a cool thing for me is we're actually launching a limited edition shirt with my brand, Wear by EA. It's called Screen. It has screen on it. Just to remind everyone, go get screened, go get looked at, get that body checked, and you can pick it up on NHLshop.com or this is so cool, the NHL flagship store in New York City.
Hey Aaron,
Erin?
and obviously with Wear by EA, I'm really interested in, you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
At what point was the inspiration like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start a really cool clothing line here?
I think well, the biggest inspiration came from the fact that I'm a massive sports fan. I went to the University of Florida. I'm a daddy's girl. I grew up cheering for the Celtics and the Red Sox, and my husband played for the Los Angeles Kings and won a couple cups while he was doing so. And we were going to the games and wanted to look fashionable, and then also be able to go to the bar afterwards and not be like a major crazy fan with all of it all over, LA Kings all over our body. We wanted to look cool going to the restaurant or going to the bar afterwards. And I just noticed when you would go to these team shops that there wasn't much selection for women like there were for men. No offense to you guys, but I was like, what the heck? Why do the men get all the fashion and we don't? So that was really the big, inspiration behind it all. I felt like women deserved more. They deserved more fashionable items. And yeah, that's like our whole intent behind it. You can cheer for your team anywhere and everywhere and still look fashionable doing it.
Erin, when you launched your clothing line in 2019, what was your fashion inspiration behind that?
I think it was kind of like the essentials in my closet, right? Like the comfy shirts, the big oversized varsity sweatshirts, the bomber jackets that I loved wearing, jean jackets, windbreakers, just kind of like my day-to-day stuff that I loved. And then we kind of thought of fun ways to put logos on it, team colors, so all the fans felt like they were, super fashionable while they were cheering for their team, but also something that they could wear every single day, not just on game days as well.
Fun fact here, I have a
A
girlfriend
fun
who
fact.
I had to turn her into a hockey fan, of course.
Hmm.
And so she had a closet with no hockey stuff in it. The first thing I hooked her up with was one of your shirts in your line.
That is a fun fact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just wanted to jam that in there. But another thing I wanted to bring up I thought was really cool was me and Anthony recently had the pleasure of covering the Skate for LA Strong event.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, your husband, Jarrett Stoll, we're all very familiar with him here. 2 Stanley Cups, like you said. Currently on the development staff, working with the Kings Young guys, and also killing it on the broadcast side as
He is
well.
good.
So yeah, you guys are huge, parts of the community here. Obviously, the fires hit home. Uh, I mean, how how impactful was that event, and like how much of a good feeling was it to see so many people come together for that?
Yeah, it was very special. I was very proud of the NHL. That was just coming off the Four Nations tournament, which was so special and exciting as a big hockey fan and obviously somebody part of the league. I was so proud of the league for that. And then they turn around and Gary Bettman's there and they're doing this whole day with the LA Kings and the NHL. So I was so proud of the league. I was so proud of the LA Kings. So proud of my husband. He got a lot of cameos that he put up on that jumbotron with some of my people from the NFL world, but it was very special, and I'm grateful for all those guys voicing some of those things. It was great. I actually had a chance to interview a lot of the LA heroes, firefighters, men who were battling the conditions and losing their home at the same time, but putting everything they can out there to help our community. People that have been impacted, obviously, that lost their homes. I just think the biggest thing that it showed was we are here for you. We want to help, but also people still need a lot of it. And just because it's not the week after, it's been several weeks after. There's still so much more we can do. So I'm really, really grateful that we were able to put that together. But I hope it also created a lot of awareness that there's still a lot to do, and also so grateful of the celebrities that showed up. I mean, that list was amazing of people that
Right.
came. And you had Vince Vaughn, Snoop Dogg, Justin Bieber holding my kid, which was incredible. Danny DeVito, Al Michaels. It was just a really, really special day.
You mentioned Justin Bieber, Aaron. What was his chances if he wasn't in entertainment scene? Do you think he would have made a NHL club?
Sure. I know my Jared has actually skated with him a few times and said he did a really good job. So, I mean, he's a passionate guy. He obviously is a hard worker. So that's a lot of what it takes, right, to play in the NHL. Of course, some skill. I don't know Justin's skill whatsoever, but on the ice, but I know it on the stage. But yeah, no, hey, why not?
And to talk about the Four Nations event, Aaron,
So
what's your
special.
thoughts? Do you think the NHL should segue and pivot to just going towards that event more or less, or go back and revert back to All-Star game?
I mean, I think that's why they pay Gary the big bucks. But I got to be honest, I thought it was so special, so exciting. I mean, in our house, we've got a Canadian, we've got my son and I are Americans. We were giving it to dad, and you got the whole nation. I mean, listen, I know Canada, obviously they're all in, but I struggle with the US because I want people to love it more. I want people to pay attention more. And I felt like that night they were. I mean, so many people, like, I thought it was cool, from my sense of things. Christian McCaffrey, he put that night on Instagram, best of three. The other night we were watching the Oscars and Matthew Kachuk was in a Perry Ellis commercial. And I said to Jarrett, this is big. This is so good for the sport. Just to get, this attention and this excitement over it. I want them to play again. I really do. It was just so much fun. fun fact, not really. When Connor scored that goal, my husband screamed so loud, my golden retriever jumped up, and Mac was sleeping. I was like, "Hey, enough!" And he's like, "Well, if it had been USA, you would have freaked out." But it was so cool. It was really, really cool.
Erin, speaking of big stages, what are the nerves like doing something like the Super Bowl? I mean, that's got to be insane, right?
Yeah. It's really insane and it never gets old. And I think the day it does is the day I probably need to walk away. But the Super Bowl is really, really special. You know, I loved both of these teams. I have such great relationships with both of these teams. To be able to interview Patrick Mahomes moments before the game kicked off, I literally felt like I was going to have a stroke. I was so nervous. I was so excited. I've done it tens of thousands of times. I've talked to him a million times and I literally felt like I was gonna barf. And then it was so cool. My husband's seats were actually right where I was standing, kind of like where I was stationed, walking back and forth. And afterwards, I looked up when I walked away from Patrick, and I looked at him, and he goes, "How did it go?" And I said, "I want to cry." And he texted right away, "What happened? What happened?" I said, it was just so amazing. Like it's never going to get better than that. Like to interview one of our face of the NFL, moments before the Super Bowl. My nerves are like crazy. I'm so excited. Yeah, it was a special day, but a lot of nerves. Yeah.
Aaron, any advice you want to give to any young women who are seeing you on television and want to emulate what you're doing, and any advice you want to give those ladies who are pursuing a career in broadcasting?
I don't know if you guys realize this. My first job out of college was with the Tampa Bay Lightning. They were at the bottom of the totem pole. They even tried to trade Vincent LeCavalier that year. John Tortorella, it was his first season with the Lightning, and I learned a lot from Torts. He was very much a mentor to me, and he looked out for me a lot that season. But I remember being very upset on the team plane that message boards were a big thing back then. And there was a lot of, conversation on the message board about my nose being too big, my voice being awful. I didn't know anything about hockey. This just in, I didn't know anything about hockey. I grew up in Tampa Bay. I was a Florida Gator. It really taught me to study, work my ass off. I think to this day, Jarrett and I laugh. One of my first like in-game interviews or like intermission interviews was with Ron Francis, and I think I talked to him about like canned soup or something because he was involved with like Campbell's or some sort of canned. It was so stupid, but that just showed like how much I was needing to study, learn all of that. But I remember being very upset on the team charter about something somebody had written about me, and Torts looked at me and said, "You got to get thicker skin. You got to get thicker skin." So I would say this, if you're very like, you really, really want to be a part of it, it's not an easy thing. Much like a lot of the athletes that I've interviewed, you could be in a stadium full of 100,000 people cheering your name and being so excited, but there's a ton of people on social media that want to tear you down. So that's a big factor. You have to learn to separate that. Also, I've never studied for anything more in my life than I do for the games that I'm getting ready to work. You never want to be in a situation where you don't understand, what could happen, the scenario. You always just want to be really well prepared. I wish I had been like that in college. I, my parents probably would have been a lot happier, but yeah, no, and also my last thing is you really have to love it. You really have to want to do it. I've missed basically every Thanksgiving because I work every Thanksgiving. We just got Christmas off for the first time this year. I'd missed 5 Christmases. You miss a lot of friends' weddings who decide to get married in September, which I think is weird. Football's on. Why are you getting married? And yeah, it's just you miss a lot. And so you really, really have to love it. Traveling on the road, being around these athletes, studying them, reading the articles and everything.
Uh, Erin, honestly, was not expecting a torts reference
John
on here.
Tortorella reference.
Yeah, that is awesome. I actually didn't realize that was when
He
you
also
started.
taught me how to ask hard questions in press conferences, which, as we know from Tort, sometimes he's got some, really, really direct answers. But one time, a player on our team, I think he was missing from either the lineup or practice, and nobody in the press room had asked. And, Torch was really on me about asking good questions. Don't be afraid. And I raised my hand in the press room and he said, it was after morning skate. And he said, yeah, Erin. And I said, hey, where's so and so? And he said, good effing question. I was like, okay.
Wow. And then on that note, which Anthony asked about, young girls interested in kind of
Mhm.
breaking through to the sports, broadcast world and media world and all that. I would say, a good resource is the podcast that you started with, your colleague Carissa Thompson there,
Yep.
where you guys, both kind of in the same field, both killing it. I mean, that I would say that's a pretty good resource right there for young girls to check out.
Yeah, it's fun. When we are broadcasting, Krista gets to speak a little bit longer than I do because she's on a studio desk, but I really only get 15 seconds. Before either the ball is snapped, there's a fumble, an interception, or we're going to break. So I'm lucky if I get it all out. So yeah, it's kind of cool to pull back the curtain, give everybody a behind the scenes look of what it's really like. Sometimes it is the best job in my mind, but it's not that as glamorous as people think. You're shoving in a crustable. You're lucky if you get like, some trail mix before you have to interview a coach at halftime. Sometimes there's games where it's like absolute downpour or you're like so frozen that you have, the frozen snot all over your face. So yeah, but it's pretty cool to just kind of give people the behind the scenes look at the job.
All right, one last question. Mac, your son has some really big fans in NFL and the NHL. Can we see Mac doing any type of sideline broadcasting anytime soon?
I don't know. I mean, my man is here. It's really funny because we had our baby late in our life, and I helped with. I mean, I didn't help raise a lot of families with those good LA teams, but we were there when the Brown kids, Dustin Brown's boys, were tearing up the wives' room. The Quick kids were running around. Now we have the Kopitar kids who are really kind of like they've taken place of the Brown and the Quick kids. They're taking care of everyone. So Anze's two adorable children are really like the ones that look out for Mac. Actually, Mac was wearing Jakob skates at the family skate, which is we're like, hey, this is a Hall of Famer son skates. Like this is a big deal, Mac. But no, Mac, I don't know. He's busy. He's real busy. So I don't know how much he'll be on the sideline. I think with the pressure he has from his mother and father, he may either be on the ice or on the field. It was pretty cool. I wanted a couple of pictures with some people at that skate, and I just really, really wanted a picture with Mac and Messier, and I got it. So that was very, very special. Mac has also met Sidney Crosby, which is pretty cool too. We were like, Mac, that's royalty, really big royalty.
Well, yeah, I mean, as Anthony said, I don't have any more questions for you, but I do want to thank you for what you're doing, especially with AstraZeneca and
Yeah, for sure.
inspiring people to get screened. I mean, we all know people
Yeah,
who are affected, and it's very, very important. So, I mean, that's just a cause like everyone can very easily get behind. So, huge thank you for stepping up and really, getting that going.
absolutely. Where are you from?
I'm in LA.
Oh,
I've been here my whole
are
life.
you from LA? Oh
Yeah,
my God, you
forever.
sound like you have a Canadian accent. Oh, I
You know
do too.
what?
My
I
husband.
just got told I look like a hockey player yesterday, which was funny.
That's great. Who cares? Wonderful. What are you missing teeth? Are you what? No, I'm kidding.
No, no, I'm 5'7", so a short hockey player, but yeah.
That's funny. Well, good to talk to you guys.